Good morning, Kabroda crew. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us again after a weekend. Hopefully y'all had a good weekend and are starting off the week pretty good, you know, coming into Tuesday here today. Yeah, it's been a pretty good weekend. A little hot here. Like I said, we're going on vacation here. I think we'll have a live stream tomorrow, and then after that, yeah, we'll be on vacation for a few weeks. So, you know, we'll be back live in a couple weeks. If you guys are interested in catching us when we get back, just hit that bell notification. That way you guys are up to date and ready to go. Yeah, when we get back, I believe it's 14th when we get back. So let me check. That would be... yeah, so we might be back on the 15th, I guess. I'd have to check and make sure that date is correct, but I believe it's 14th when we get back. So yeah, we might be live a couple Wednesdays from now on the 15th. We'll see. I believe it's 14th, yeah. But yeah, we'll be back here in a couple weeks, but we are going to be gone. So we'll have today, tomorrow, and then we'll be gone after that. But anyways, should be change of pace for sure to have a little cooler weather. Going to Oregon, so it should be a little cooler, a little different, I guess. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We got a couple people here though. Looks like Terry's here, Kathleen's here, Stuart Maker. Good morning to y'all. Thanks for joining in today, checking out our live stream, seeing what's going on. Yeah, like I said, hopefully y'all had a good weekend. We're actually breaking down a little bit right now, so I'll have to jump in there and check that out. Over the weekend though, mostly we just ran sideways, so you can see it through the price action here. I believe this was Thursday. Yeah, we were talking about possible trade down. Didn't actually end up breaking much to the downside after the initial drop, and then it kind of just ran sideways more or less. A little bit of up, a little bit of down, but overall sideways. Downtime on the live. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess you'll have to do a little TA. Yeah, we are working on bringing out the newsletter type things, so you guys can go ahead and like check those out, see what's going on. You get a little daily brief and stuff like that. But like I said, we haven't brought those out quite yet, so they're still in the works. But if they were out, that'd be definitely a good option, you know, for trying to figure out what the market's doing, see what's happening. Yeah. Today though, definitely looking a little down, a little sideways. So we'll have to go ahead and get the levels on there, see what's going on, see where we're breaking down today. We did kind of break our bottom level here from the weekend. I believe this actually might be Thursday's level. Nope, Friday's level. So Friday's level we broke down, got a close below. So we'll see if we can continue here. We'll have to get our line set up though and see where exactly we are at. So yeah, I guess we'll just head on over to Kabroda.com, check it out, see what's going on, see what's happening today. And we have done a couple updates, so now that we're at Kabroda, you can kind of see there's a little bit more added to the BTC's thing. You know, there's the normal, we're at around 58,000. We're bearish today at 5 out of 5. We're exhausted, so oversold basically. The jewel is lining up with the downside. Multi-agent system is saying that we're going to stay down today. And then we got your breakout level and your breakdown level. So it kind of spread out a little bit, not a big gap. Just looking at the two numbers, not a huge gap, but we'll take a look at that here in a second. But below that, you can see we have some new stuff here. So we have our 4 hour, and actually has a little trade there. And then we have a 1 hour trade. These are in the works. These are kind of just like, right now they're just kind of extra information on here, really. You know, it says trade this, which it's accurate, I guess, that it's going to go down. I'm pretty sure we already hit that level, or are pretty close to hitting the target. But the trade in itself is not the greatest setup. Okay, it's a good setup, but the way that it's set up, the trade is not that great. So maybe not something to really look at right now. It's more just for informational as of right now, and then it's kind of something we're working on, back testing, and I guess forward testing, kind of like letting it work itself out, and then kind of going back and looking at the different trades throughout the month that it traded, and then kind of seeing, okay, this is what we need to do. We need to add this, do that. So it's really just, yeah, I guess in a way back testing, but it's just gathering information on it. So really for right now, it's just, kind of more information below here. It's not really something you want to be too interested in quite yet, but pretty soon it'll just get more and more accurate, and it'll kind of train itself as well by looking at the data and stuff as it goes. So we'll see what happens there as we kind of let it finish out. But as of right now, yeah, just extra information. So go ahead and get our triggers though, throw them on our chart, see what's going on today. So this is our levels from Friday, so we'll go ahead and switch them. We are on Tuesday. Those actually might have been Monday's levels. I might have pasted them in the wrong section. Excuse me. All right, here we go. We are looking at our, wow, kind of weird. We're looking at our levels here for today. So you got your breakout level here in green, breakdown level here in purple. I'm not sure where the daily support, daily resistance are. Yeah, I don't know where they are. Maybe they're under another line or something. But yeah, you get a 30-minute range here in the dashed yellows, with the kind of backdrop of orange yellow color behind it. So it's basically from the purple line down here all the way up to this line here. That's your 30-minute range, closer to the bottom side, obviously. So if you've been watching the channel for a while, that typically means we're going to break to the downside for the day. Right now we're setting up our predator lines with our 830 to 845 candles. So we have our high up here at 58,736 right now, and our low right now is around 58,195. Pretty close to that target that the 4 hour is calling. So maybe see a little bit more downside, but as of right now, the predator lines are setting up pretty nicely. We'll see what happens afterwards. Typically, you know, if you've been around for a while, you'll know that we use these for market direction as well. So we'll see if we get a close below and then take a trade down. Yeah, right now I'd be only paper trades. Yeah. Yep, 4 hour and 1 hour buildings. Make sure telling y'all in the comments how it's working. Yeah, so we're looking like we're gonna break to the downside. We'll see what happens after we close, and then, you know, the next candle will kind of tell us if we're gonna continue there with the predator or not. Yeah, we'll break open the system though, kind of see what's going on, see what's happening with the levels. First, we'll kind of just head on over into our cockpit and kind of see if there's any trades or anything like that right now. So right now we're looking at staying down today. We don't have any trade, obviously, but the system is saying that we're more likely going to go short, and it's looking like pretty open to the downside. It's just you know, there's other indicators that are telling the system that we need to stand down for today. So we'll go ahead and take a look at our market recap here. We'll go ahead and pull it up here. So give me a second. Kind of read through it and see what's going on. All right, we'll go ahead and switch it back here. So BTC short structure intact. We have 2 simultaneous vetoes that halted execution. All right, so BTC trades near that 58,422 sessions lower structural boundary with bearish momentum aligned across all 5 timeframes. Despite that alignment, no trade is issued today. 2 independent structural criteria fired simultaneously, either of which is sufficient to close the gate. All right, so we'll go ahead and look at some different things. That's kind of the overall, like, a little news syrup, I guess. So we'll go ahead and break it down in today's market recap, or market, I guess not recap, this market analysis from the multi-agent system. So BTC is sitting around that 18.2% into the bear wave 4. Corrective bounce off the 60,055 wave 3 low. The structural map targets that bounce towards 80,632. The wave 1 market structure break that function as the hard ceiling for this phase. A weekly close below 60,055 terminates the bounce entirely and rearranges the bear continuation sequence towards wave 5 structural target into the 42 to 45,000 range. The level is the single most consequential reference point on the current macro map. So we need to break that 60,000 level. I thought we did that last week, but maybe we didn't. Let's check. All right, so 60,000. Yeah, we did. I guess it wasn't enough confirmation for it. I don't know, kind of interesting. But we have broke that level, so we are looking for that 45,000 level. We kind of have talked about it. We've kind of targeting around that 50,000 level, just somewhere around there. We're kind of targeting a little bit above, like I told everybody before. It's mostly just because whenever you target, you know, you have a low target, And then typically that low target actually won't get the hit. You'll get hit right above that target and then it will bounce up. Not always, sometimes it falls and continues through the target a little bit and then comes back up. But there's a lot of times you'll see it just come down right above that target and then take off, and that's just because everybody's kind of looking at the target, everybody's waiting for that target, and so the market maker kind of just pulls it off that target, and you ends up turning like way before anybody else thought, just kind of to move money around, takes money away from there's whole science behind it. Honestly, it's just how it works. That's really what goes into it. I mean, there's all these theories, all these things that people will tell you, why it's happening, or why that the market makers do this or do that, or there's little elves up there doing blah blah blah. Who knows? Basically, it happens. It's just kind of a rule of the market, so it's just something you got to watch out for. Like I said, it's not necessarily like 100% perfect all the time, but it's something that typically will happen and typically you'll see. So that's why we kind of say, around 50,000 level, even though the actual target is actually closer to 40,000, like 42,000 to 45,000. But yeah, we'll go ahead and read the rest of it. That's kind of the breakdown of that though. So that's the bigger market picture. Now we'll kind of break down the sentiment of the whole market. So the fear and greed index registers at 15 out of 100. Last week we were out 21, I think, out of 100. So we're dropping down a little bit lower. I think 17 was Friday or Thursday or Friday. So just continuation down on the fear and greed index. Reading historically associated with institutional accumulation activity rather than sustained distribution. Total crypto market capitalization stands around 2.12 trillion, down 1.47% from over 24 hours on volume of 78 billion. Contraction in market value accompanied by above average participation suggests active selling rather than passive drift. BTC dominance at 55.5% reflects capital consolidations into the lead asset, which is a consistent feature of risk-suppressed environments. Sentiment and structure and agreement conditions favor the short side in principle, but the alignment does not override Vito's conditions of today. So we're essentially, we're looking like we're going to continue down. We're showing downside potential. The one thing is, the 15 out of 100. 15 out of 100 showing. It's basically just saying that there's a lot of fear in the market. Basically what the fear and greed tries to measure is fear and greed. So if you're going up and you're going like way up, people kind of get this attitude of like, oh, we're going to make a bunch of money. It's going to go to whatever. People throw out high targets and, people get greedy basically. And the market typically will see actually a reverse happen as we get into like extreme greed. Well, same thing kind of happens for fear. It's just the opposite. People, it starts going down a little bit. People get scared. People think, oh, we're going to go to zero. People, blah, 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 blah. All that stuff starts coming out. And so then you'll typically see a reversal there. Not always the case. We could be in extreme fear for a little while. It's not like you just, you hit extreme fear and immediately bounce. It's just one of those, it's a good indicator that we are going to bounce here pretty soon. That kind of lines up with our call, saying, hey, we're going to run down to around 50,000. That's definitely going to be a level that it could come down and hit before we see that bounce that we're talking about with the fear and greed. Basically, the other stuff saying, we're down a little bit, people are selling, just more indicators that we're going to continue down a little bit before we see that bounce. So today's energy, there's momentum aligned across all time frames, all 5 time frames to the downside, a coherent bearish vote with no descent at the surface level. The 4-hour time frame carries trend strength building with an ADX reading of 42.1. The hourly follows with a trend strength building at 30.7. The 15-minute execution signal is loaded with overextension, and the price is pulling back into the short entry window. That picture is real. What overrides it is also real. RSI divergence is compounded continuously across 6 consecutive session transitions spanning New York Open through London Open, and is now confirmed at both the weekly and daily timeframe level. The weekly registers momentum opposing the bear trend from statistically extreme oversold territory, and the daily shows momentum already turning upward even as price continues lower. The trend surface appears intact, but the field beneath it is just measurably deteriorating. So essentially, we have the downside. It's definitely looking like we're going to continue down. Indicators are telling us it's going to continue down. But overall, throughout the market, you're seeing a loss in the fuel that's going to take us down there. So, yeah, overall, we'll probably continue down, but it's just getting into the point of the market where you're going to see that bottom happen here pretty soon, and it's more than likely going to be pretty fast. And even if it's not fast, there's just going to be a lot of volatility kind of coming in. You're going to see a lot up, a lot of down. Maybe not like crazy, like way up, way down. But for a smaller time frame, like 15-minute, you're going to see a lot of whiplash, a lot of, unclear signs kind of coming in as you're trying to trade to the downside. So, overall, it's saying down. Overall, we're looking down. 15-minute is even kind of telling us that it's going to continue down. But it's something that, you want to be a little careful with, because it's volatile. It's going to jump up. It's going to jump down. There's a lot of movement within it, that you could see happen. And it could smack you in the face if you're trying to jump into it, So why are we standing down today? So there's 2 conditions fired simultaneously. Each is independent, sufficient to close the gate. So veto number 1, session range below the minimum structural floor. The 30-minute open range measures at $573.66 equivalent to 0.97 of the lower structural boundary price. The 1% minimum floor is established by last week's performance audit over medium width ranges produced 0 correct directional calls across 3 attempts. This session range does not clear that threshold, and the threshold corridor on the short side is unobstructed through all 3 targets, but a range this narrow means the proportional structure projection originates too closely to entry to absorb spread, slippage, and the elevated reversal risk produced by the divergence history. This is compressed setups that resembles a full measured move without carrying its structural integrity. So yeah, a lot of mouthful to basically say that our gap is too small in between the breakdown breakout lines, as well as that's kind of the main thing there. Yeah, the gap's too small. That's really, I guess that's what it said. Let's see what Sphere Maker said in the comments. Sphere Maker says Kabroda is auditing the allowed market and building out the highest probability for the 15 1-hour and 4-hour trades. That part of the system will never be public. We just want to share it with you so you know who and what Kabroda is, and also for credibility. Kabroda says stand down due to trading the short time frame, which is 15-minute. But the key levels that we talked about on the live do show that you could trade depending on your system. Yes, so like we said, like we always say, I guess, the our system is our system. You know, we're saying stand down because of you know, indicators that we've looked at in the past, things we've looked at in the past. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're not going to go down. Stand down just means you know, with our system, we'd rather stay out of it and not put money on the line because of how the market is. But if your system's a little different, if your system's running something different, you definitely could be putting money in the market. And you know, the move we talk about with the down move is just overall, you know, it is looking like it's going to run down. 50 minutes kind of saying it's going to run down. It's just Kabroda System is going to say, hey, no, hold back, because of the two things that we're kind of looking right now. You know, with the gap being too wide, that's an indicator that we look at, that we say, hey, you know, that's something we want to stay away from the market if that's happening. Not necessarily because it's not going to go down. It's just the probability of it going down with the system that we trade is lower. So yeah, that's why we're looking at that. And then, as well as, we'll read this video too here. Field deterioration confirmed beneath the trend surface. So the 6th session RSI divergence chain is now anchored at the weekly and daily level. The weekly shows bullish divergence from deeply oversold territory, not a directional reversal signal, but a structural warning that the selling pressure sustaining the bear wave is closer to depletion than the 4-hour and hourly momentum grades alone apply. The daily shows momentum already rotating upwards. Entering a short position against an active divergence stack on this depth means chasing a directional move whose underlying energy is structurally compromised, with one of the early warning signals that would normally flag a counter squeeze. Those signals are already consumed by the divergence accumulation. So you're seeing some divergence on the longer time frame, or not divergence. You're seeing some accumulation, some buying, some, you know, some of the indicators are kind of showing signs of flipping here on the longer time frames. So that's another reason, you know, we're looking at the 15-minute. We're seeing some confliction between the different time frames. Another reason that our system would tell us to stand down. Like I said, you know, it's all up to you. It's up to your system. You can kind of, you know, you can look at it however you want. Maybe your system is, you know, oh, we broke below this. Maybe your system is this right now. Maybe you're like, all right, well, my system is whenever we test this 9 moving average, I just jump in. So, you know, I jump in here, take it down. Okay, got out, and then okay, we jumped in around here somewhere, and then took it down, got out. I don't know. You know, just off the fly. But maybe you're saying, okay, well, we're testing it again right now, so I already jumped in right here, and I'm ready to take it down even farther. I don't know. You know, whatever your system is, you just trade your system and do what your system says to do. Like you said, our system is telling us to stand down, so that's what we're going to do. If you're interested in, you know, learning more about our system, that's you know, that's what it says to do. Yeah, I mean, that's what we trade on the live here. So what would change for our system? What would change our opinion on this? We need the short setup to reopen when 2 conditions resolve concurrently. So first, we need the 30-minute opening range to expand beyond that 1%. Obviously not going to happen today. Have to wait for tomorrow. And then secondly, the divergence accumulation must stabilize. So at least one of the sessions transitions must pass through without a new divergence flag appearing at the daily or weekly level. Wider range without divergence stabilization leaves the fuel warning active, and a clean divergence read inside a narrow range still fails the minimum floor size. Both must be resolved. So there you go. That's kind of what we would need to see. Again, you know, it's not going to happen today. Might happen tomorrow. We'll see. I don't know. But as of right now, we're staying down. We're staying out of the trades for a little bit. You know, better to kind of hold capital, wait out the storm, and then jump in when the getting's good again. So we're kind of staying down for a little bit. And if you've been watching us for a while, we kind of been staying down for a while. But you know, we're just here to kind of help y'all look at the market, see some TA, see it from maybe a point of view that you haven't looked at before. And then also kind of help you all out in your journey to kind of learning TA and learning how to kind of use it. So the counter trend case, we don't even need to look at that. Well, I guess maybe it could go up. I guess we can kind of read through it just in case. If the upper structural boundary at that 58,996 accepts price and holds a support on a confirmed retest, the counter trend long case opens against the dominant bearish structure. Entry at that 58,996 risk level at 58,355, the critical structural ceiling. Major supply cluster at 60,025 defies the hard limit with it for any bounce. Given the trend nature of the move and the active divergence warning, the structural playbook calls for a full position exit at the first target of 59,569, which is actually not that great of a move. I guess it's not too bad with the stop it put on there. The daily resistance at 60,659 remains overhead, and the wave 4 bounce thesis requires a sustained reclaim of the 60,055 for any bullish structural narrative earns credibility. So essentially, if we do break up to the upside, we could see a little bit of room to go to the upside, but we do have a big looming level up here at 60,000. 60,055, I guess to be exact, but around 60,000 level, big scary level that we want to kind of stay away from, really. So you could take it up a little bit. We could be looking at something around that 59.3, I believe it called, 59.5, 69. So around there. Here, we'll mark this. So if we were taking a little position to the upside, it was saying we'd put our stop at 58.3. So basically stop below here. Target up here, so almost a 1-to-1. I guess if you traded it more exact, it'd be about a 1-to-1. So nothing like crazy awesome. And then the other thing is you are trading counter trends, so little I guess wouldn't be too bad of a trade. It's just you got to be conscious of the counter trend move there, as well as everything else we kind of talked about is looking pretty bearish, even though we're kind of in somewhat of a mixed signals. They are definitely leaning bearish, so yeah, you're definitely taking the counter trend move there to the upside. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it could go up there. I don't know, depends on your trading level. If for ours, so that would be kind of the trade of our that'd be our systems trade, I guess, if we were to break to the upside. But I don't know, we'll see what happens here on the time frame. We are actually breaking above the 30-minute range, or the predator lines here, so could be a little bit of an upside move for today. We'll see. I don't know. Like I said, that's not always perfect. You don't always go to the direction that you get the close above. It's just a good indicator, and if you use it with some other, like our other indicators, all kind of work together, and that's kind of a good indicator that's going to go in that direction. Maybe we will get a little bit of a breakout here today, though. It's definitely trying. So yeah, it's really it for the market breakdown. That's kind of the breakdown there of what we're looking at for today. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful to y'all. Overall, that's the levels we're looking at. That's the overall market kind of sentiment that we're looking at. Definitely bearish, definitely looking for downside risk. It does look like it's going to rip up a little bit. But again, we do have that big wall here at 60,000. You can see we kind of tested that throughout the weekend. We came up through 60,000 actually a little bit, quite often actually. A little break there, We do have a pretty major level, I guess, at 60,700 range too. So if we do get to 60,000, that would be the next level we'd be looking at. But you can see we kind of come up tested there. We did break that time, tested the 60,007 level, and then we broke back down through 60,000, kind of tested again. So a lot of, testing, breaking down, breaking through. We came down, hit it, broke up a little bit, and then finally broke down through. So a lot of resistance, a lot of support. It's flipping quite often, but there's definitely a lot of weight on that resistance there at 60,000. So definitely something to pay attention to if you are going to be looking at an up trade. That's a level to be watching for, as well as that 60,700 level. And then also you do have the 200 right here coming down right on our target actually. So, and that's not too far below that 60,000. So maybe just something to be mindful of as well. If you are trading the 15-minute, I guess, all that to say. So, yeah, overall, definitely looking like we're going to continue down here. Overall, on the 15-minute today, you could see a little bit of an up move, but we'll see what happens as we let the day play out. But yeah, that's kind of it for the live stream. So thanks for joining. If you guys liked our content, go ahead and hit that like, hit the subscribe if you're not already. Just helps us get the channel out to more people, helps us reach more people, and share some trader knowledge with them, and then also hopefully help them along their journey to financial freedom. So thanks for joining. Again, we'll be live tomorrow, and then Thursday we're gonna be gone. So yeah, hopefully y'all are doing well. We'd love to see you tomorrow though. Love to get a little last live in before we head out. And yeah, we'll kind of see what's going on. Maybe we'll look a little more longer term, to kind of see maybe what could happen as we're gone for a little while. But we will be back. We'll be back. I don't know. We'll miss. Let's see. We'll miss. So we'll miss 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 live streams. So it'll be like a week and a half ish that we would miss of live stream. So 3 or 4, and then also Thursday. So might be 5 or 6. So yeah, we'll see what happens, like I said, but we should be back around the 14th. So the 15th, I believe we'll have a live stream going. I'm not sure what time we get back the 14th though, so it could also be the 16th that we start our live stream again. But we'll let y'all know. Probably let y'all know tomorrow actually. So make sure you tune in for that. Tune in for a little bit of more major market analysis, and then we'll also check out what happened today. But thanks for joining again. Thanks for checking us out and sticking around for the live stream. So hopefully that was helpful to y'all. Let us know in the comments if you guys want anything more in the live stream, if you want to see anything more, more analysis on the charts, more analysis, or maybe something you want to see in the newsletter type thing that we're building. Maybe something different, something extra. I don't know. Just let us know in the comments. But yeah, thanks for joining. We will catch y'all tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. CST. You guys can figure out what that is in your time zone. But we'll be back, and we'll see you then. Thanks for joining. Happy trading, y'all.